What if the most dangerous hacker in the room wasn't even real? What if the guy sitting across from one of Europol's top digital investigators, spinning this elaborate, airtight story about cyber terrorism, Russian mob hackers, and a ghost on the dark web, was actually playing her? And what if the most brilliant social engineering hack in history wasn't done on a computer, it was done on a human mind? This is Who Am I? And by the time this video is over, you're going to question every single thing you thought you just watched. Welcome to DarkDecode, where we pull apart the stories that mess with your head long after the credits roll. Today, we're breaking down one of the most criminally underrated psychological thrillers ever made, a 2014 German film that somehow flew under the radar for most of the world. But the people who have seen it, they never shut up about it. And after today, neither will you. Let's get into it. Picture this: a cold, gray interrogation room somewhere in Europe. Fluorescent lights, that specific kind of silence that makes you uncomfortable. And sitting at the table, completely calm, almost too calm, is a young guy named Benjamin Engel. Pale, quiet, ordinary-looking in every possible way. He's a hacker from Berlin, and he's asked, specifically requested, to speak with Hanne Lindberg, head of Europol's cyber division, one of the most decorated digital crime investigators on the continent. The officer tells her. She hesitates. Why would some random hacker kid ask for her specifically? She walks in, sits down, and Benjamin says, "I can give you FR-13s, and I can give you MRX, but first, you're going to listen to my story." Now here's where you need to pay attention. FR-13s, pronounced Friends, is a four-person hacking collective with direct ties to the Russian cyber-mafia. These are not kids pulling pranks. These are professional digital criminals who've been a ghost to law enforcement for years. Europol has been chasing them across 7 countries and can't get close. And MRX? MRX is something else entirely. A legendary figure on the dark web. No verified identity, no face, no country, just a reputation so terrifying that even other elite hackers speak about him in hushed tones. The kind of person that every agency in the world wants, but nobody can find. Hanne's been suspended. Her career is on the line, and this kid just offered her both of them on a silver platter. She sits down, and Benjamin starts talking. But what she doesn't know yet, what none of us know yet, is that almost nothing in the story he's about to tell her is what it appears to be. Benjamin starts with something unexpected. He says, "I'm going to tell you about a superhero." Hanne almost smiles. Almost. Because Benjamin is serious. He tells her that, like many great superheroes, he grew up without parents. His father vanished the day he was born. No goodbye, no explanation, just gone. And his mother, she took her own life when Benjamin was 8. 8. He woke up one morning and the world had just shifted permanently. After that, it was just him and his grandmother, an aging, increasingly frail woman who gave him everything she could. But the damage was done. The isolation had already taken root. School was brutal, not because anyone bullied him, but because something almost worse happened. Nobody noticed him at all. He was the kid who existed in the background, socially awkward, deeply introverted, unable to connect with people in any normal way. He called it his superpower, invisibility. And honestly, in a tragic kind of way, he wasn't wrong. Because while the real world ignored him, he found somewhere he wasn't invisible. He taught himself programming. By 14, he'd cracked his first system. And in that moment, sitting alone in his room, watching a locked door swing open at his command, he felt something he'd never felt before. Power. The internet became his world. In the dark web, that became his home. That's where he found his idol. MRX, the ghost, the legend, a hacker so skilled and so untraceable that the entire underground community treated him like a god. Benjamin didn't just admire MRX, he worshipped him, wanted to become him. But here's the brutal irony of Benjamin's life. Outside of cyberspace, he was still just a kid with no degree, no connections, and no money. So he did what he had to do. He delivered pizzas. One night, Benjamin shows up at a student apartment for a delivery. Standard run, nothing special. And then he sees her, Marie. The way Benjamin says her name in that interrogation room, Hannah notices it immediately. There's a whole history packed into that one syllable. Marie was the girl from Benjamin's school days, the girl he'd been quietly, desperately in love with for years. The girl who, of course, never noticed him, because he was invisible, remember? But now she's standing there, stressed out of her mind about upcoming exams, saying she's not prepared, that she might fail. And something clicks in Benjamin's brain. He could help her. He could be her superhero. The plan was almost embarrassingly simple. Break into the university server, download the exam questions, hand them to Marie. Boom. He saves the day, she finally sees him, and maybe, just maybe, his story changes. Except it didn't go that way. He got caught. A security guard found him mid-hack, arrested on the spot. No prior record saved him from prison, but the court handed him community service, cleaning streets, which in the grand scheme of his life seemed like just another humiliation. But what he couldn't know, what nobody could predict, was that getting caught would turn out to be the best thing that ever happened to him. Because on those streets, he met Max. Max is everything Benjamin isn't. Loud where Benjamin is quiet, magnetic where Benjamin is invisible, the kind of person who walks into a room and owns it without trying. Charismatic, cocky, and wired for chaos. He's also a hacker, a good one. And Max sees something in Benjamin immediately. Raw talent, the kind you can't teach. He introduces Benjamin to his crew, Stefan and Paul, two more hackers. And after Benjamin proves himself, which doesn't take long, the four of them form a group. They call themselves Clay, clowns laughing at you. They set a base in Benjamin's grandmother's house. She's been moved to a nursing home after an Alzheimer's diagnosis left her unable to care for herself, and they start causing mayhem across Berlin, hacking systems, pulling digital pranks, uploading everything to social media. They become a minor internet sensation. People love them. But Max has one obsession burning underneath all of it: MRX. He's fixated on getting MRX's attention, getting his respect. And when MRX finally notices Clay and dismisses them with a single word, pathetic, Max absolutely loses it. That one word becomes rocket fuel. Max says they need to do something massive, something that proves they're not just clowns, something that forces MRX to take them seriously. And Benjamin, quiet, invisible, pizza delivery boy Benjamin, looks up and says the most outrageous thing imaginable. Let's hack the BND, the Bundesnachrichtendienst, Germany's Federal Intelligence Service, one of the most secure institutions in the entire country. Dead silence. Then Max grins. Perfect. What follows is a masterclass in what hackers call physical penetration, and the first move, embarrassingly low-tech, dumpster diving. They go through the BND's discarded trash, old memos, carelessly tossed documents, employee names, internal references. It sounds ridiculous, and it kind of is, but it's also a devastatingly effective real-world technique. You'd be shocked what large organizations throw away. Then comes phishing. Fake emails crafted to fool BND employees into handing over credentials. Slowly, methodically, they build a map of the building's vulnerabilities. And then they go in. They breach the BND's internal network, and rather than just stealing data quietly and disappearing, which any careful criminal would do, they do something theatrical. Every single printer in the building starts firing simultaneously, page after page after page, all of them printing the same thing. No system is safe. Clay's logo everywhere, all at once. It wasn't just a hack, it was a statement, a declaration, broadcast directly into the heart of German intelligence. MRX sees it, and this time he doesn't say pathetic. Clay celebrates. They go out, they drink, they feel invincible. For one night, they're legends. But what they didn't know, what Benjamin didn't know, was that the real catastrophe of that night had nothing to do with the BND. It had to do with what Benjamin took from those servers and what he did with it when he was heartbroken and alone. At the club that night, Benjamin sees something that stops him cold. Max and Marie, together, kissing. The girl he's loved for years, his closest friend. In one image, both of them are gone. Benjamin doesn't explode, he doesn't make a scene, he just goes quiet. That deep, dangerous kind of quiet that comes from someone who spent his whole life swallowing pain. He locks everyone out of the house, pushes Marie away when she tries to talk to him, shuts down completely. And in that darkness, he makes the worst decision of his life. While inside the BND servers, Benjamin quietly copied a private database, something he never told the rest of Clay about. Information so sensitive he probably shouldn't have even looked at it. In his heartbroken, humiliated state, he reaches out to MRX directly and offers it to him. A gift from a desperate kid who just wanted to be seen by someone. MRX accepts, and then the next morning, the news breaks. A member of FR13, known online as Krypton, has been found murdered. Benjamin pulls up that database, and his blood runs cold. Because that database contained Krypton's real identity, and it revealed something explosive. Krypton was a double agent, working secretly for Han, feeding Europol information on MRX and FR13 from the inside. Benjamin handed that information directly to MRX. He didn't pull a trigger, but he might as well have. And now, Clay has been officially designated a terrorist organization. Benjamin and Max come to blows, actual physical violence, but they can't afford to fall apart, not now. MRX reaches out. He offers a deal, dark, clean, transactional. Hack Europol's central database, delete MRX's file from their records, and in exchange, he'll reveal his true identity. He'll also provide a hacking tool to help them get in. It sounds like a trap. It feels like a trap. But with FR13 hunting them and a terrorist label on their heads, they have no options left. They dissolve their hard drives in acid, every trace of evidence gone, and travel to The Hague, Europol headquarters. And here's where you understand just how different this target is. The building is a fortress. Trash disposal goes through a secondary facility, the sewers are locked and monitored. Every phishing attempt they throw at the building hits a wall. There's no obvious way in. Benjamin stands outside and watches, studies, waits. And then he sees it. A group of visiting academics being escorted on a tour, and one of them accidentally drops their visitor's badge. Max's voice echoes in his head. Social engineering is the greatest hack. Benjamin picks up the badge, straightens his posture, adopts a completely different energy, and walks toward the entrance. He talks his way past a guard, smooth, confident, totally in character. He gets inside. He plants a hardware device deep in the building's infrastructure, returns to the hotel, and through that device, tunnels into Europol's internal server. He gives MRX an entrance, but it's not a clean entrance. Benjamin has engineered a double Trojan horse, a trap inside a back door. The moment MRX tries to walk through, he exposes himself. Clever, elegant, almost perfect. But MRX saw it coming, because MRX is always 3 steps ahead. He doesn't take the bait. Instead, he pivots and remotely accesses Benjamin's webcam, takes a clear photograph of his face, timestamps it, and vanishes. Benjamin is now exposed, identified, and the Russian operatives connected to FR13s pick up the signal almost immediately. He barely makes it out, a chase through the Berlin subway, breathless, terrified, alone. He gets back to the hotel and finds Max, Stefan, and Paul dead. FR-13s has been there. The message is crystal clear. You're next. Benjamin has nothing left. No team, no leverage, no escape route. So he does the only thing he has left. He walks into Europol, sits down in an interrogation room, and asks for Hannah Lindbergh. To prove he's serious, he tells her things about herself that he shouldn't know. Personal details, things locked behind private walls. He hacked her profile. He came prepared. Hannah listens, and she makes the deal. Witness protection in exchange for MRX. And then Benjamin does something genius. He logs into the dark web as MRX using stolen credentials. He begins spreading a rumor through underground channels. MRX has gone snitch. He's been feeding information to law enforcement. He's compromised. In the dark web underground, reputation is oxygen, and MRX can't let that stand. He responds. He fights back. And in doing so, in trying to prove he isn't a snitch, he uses methods that aren't fully secure. He gets sloppy, just once. That's all Benjamin needs. MRX is traced, identified, unmasked. A 19-year-old American kid sitting in a coffee shop in New York City. The FBI picks him up before he finishes his drink. The legend is gone. The ghost has a face. And it's just a teenager. But here's where this story does something that almost no thriller ever dares to do. It twists twice. Hannah is wrapping up. Deal done. Case closed. Benjamin gets his witness protection. But something's nagging at her. She looks at Benjamin's hand. There's a wound through his palm, the kind left by a nail driven clean through. And she remembers Max had the exact same wound, described as something he did to himself during one of their operations. The same wound. 2 people. She goes quiet, and then she goes to see Benjamin's doctor. The doctor tells her something that reframes everything. Benjamin's mother didn't just struggle. She suffered from dissociative identity disorder, multiple personalities. It's what ultimately drove her to take her own life. And the disorder, it's hereditary. Hannah goes back to Benjamin's story and starts pulling at the threads. Max, Stefan, Paul, 3 people she's never independently verified. 3 people with no confirmed paper trail, no footage she can actually confirm. The BND hack, a 4-person operation, or one extraordinarily talented individual working alone. The bodies in the hotel room, staged with World War II-era bullets sourced from his grandmother's house. The wound in both their hands. She confronts Benjamin directly, and Benjamin breaks. Because the truth, the devastating, heartbreaking truth, is that Max, Stefan, and Paul never existed. They were manifestations of Benjamin's own fractured psyche, products of a dissociative disorder he inherited from his mother and never got treated for. His personalities, his companions in the loneliness, his team, because he was never able to have a real one. He hacked the BND alone. He broke into Europol alone. He staged the murder scene himself. He's been alone this entire time. And the most chilling part, he didn't fully know it. Hannah sits there in silence, and then comes the problem. Mentally ill individuals cannot legally be placed in witness protection. And here is where this film earns its place in the pantheon, because Hannah, moved by Benjamin's shattered state, by his loneliness, his childhood, his genuine desire to just disappear, makes a choice. She bends the rules. She gives him access to the witness protection anyway. He changes his identity. She drops him off, tells him to stay invisible, to never hack again. And we cut to a Scandylines ferry pushing north through gray water. Benjamin stands at the railing, alone. And then someone appears beside him. Marie, then Max, then Stefan, then Paul. All of them alive, together. Wait, what? Benjamin narrates the final reveal in voiceover, calm, almost amused. This was the greatest social engineering hack I ever pulled. We flash back. The hotel, the dead bodies. Except they weren't dead. Everyone was fine. Benjamin had staged it perfectly. Using those old bullets from his grandmother's house, he'd constructed a scene that would hold up just long enough. He told his crew to run. FR-13 was coming. They had to scatter. They refused to leave him, so he went to Hannah, alone. And he told her a story. A mostly true story, but with deliberate gaps, carefully placed inconsistencies, plot holes engineered for a specific audience of one, a brilliant investigator who couldn't help but notice them. He knew Hannah would find the holes. He knew she'd investigate. He knew she'd reach the doctor. And he knew, because Marie had confirmed it, that mentally ill subjects cannot receive witness protection, which meant the moment Hannah decided to give it to him anyway, she was violating protocol. Off the books. No formal record. Benjamin didn't change his identity in that program. He erased it. Completely, permanently. No name, no record, no trace. Not a ghost. Something even harder to track. Nothing. And the nail through the palm was Max, real, breathing, very much alive Max, doing it as part of the plan. A small, specific detail to plant a specific seed of doubt in Hannah's mind at exactly the right moment. Every single piece of it. Calculated, engineered, executed perfectly. Benjamin's greatest hack was never the BND. It was never Europol. It was never MRX. It was Hannah Lindbergh's grief. He hacked her empathy. Cut to a press conference. Hannah at the podium, announcing the defeat of FR-13 in the unmasking of MRX. Cameras flashing. Applause. Career restored. Mission accomplished. And then, mid-sentence, mid-triumph, something crosses her face. A flicker. A realization slowly assembling itself behind her eyes. She got played. She knows it now. But here's what makes this ending so quietly devastating. She smiles because she got what she wanted. The monsters are caught. The cases are closed. Her name is cleared. And somewhere on a ferry heading north, a kid who just wanted to be invisible, who spent his entire life being invisible, finally got his wish. Not as a flaw, not as a wound, as a choice. Two people walked into that interrogation room playing each other, and somehow, impossibly, they both won. Who Am I is a film that trusts its audience to keep up. It doesn't explain itself. It doesn't hold your hand. It just builds this incredibly tight, layered story and then pulls the rug out from under you, not once, but twice, and leaves you sitting there wondering how you missed it. The real question the film keeps asking isn't about hacking or Europol or MRX. It's the one in the title. Who am I? Benjamin spent his whole life being no one, and in the end, he made that official. That's either the saddest ending you've ever heard or the most triumphant. Probably both. If you want more breakdowns like this, psychological thrillers, dark narratives, films that actually make you think, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.